So hello everybody, welcome to the first talk of the afternoon today on Thursday. So today we've got Andrea and he's going to be talking to us how he became a lead software engineer here at Redgate. I'm really excited about this talk because for me, I think no career is linear, and I think at Redgate there's lots of examples of that. You know, there's a great theory that I follow which is called the squiggly career, and I think for everybody has got their own sort of unique squiggle of where they've gotten their career in their journey. And I think throughout the week, we've seen from sort of the execs from Ben talking about his career to the SDR and BDRs in the US talking about their careers. And now we've got Andrea sharing his journey. So I'm really happy with doing this, Andrea, giving us tips, resources, what experience have you had. For those people who want any questions at the end, what we'll do is we'll let Andrea do his talk. And at the end, I'll take questions. So if you pop questions in the chat, I can make sure that they're asked then. If we do go over time, we can always pop those questions and level up. I'm sure Andrea will be more than happy to answer those for you one-to-one. So without further ado, because I know this is going to push us right up to the half-past line because Andrea's got so much content to share with us, that I'll hand over to him. And thank you very much, Andrea, for giving this talk to us. So this is Andrea to how to become a lead software engineer.
Thank you very much, Colette. Thank you everyone for attending. So I'm Andrea. I'm one of the lead software engineers in Redgate. So in this talk, I want basically to share my experience on how I become a lead software engineer. The intended audience are basically all engineers at any stage of their career and any people like line managers or any other ones that want to support engineers to reach the lead software engineer role. And obviously share all the mistakes I've made along the way and all advice I've got. Right, let me start sharing my professional engineering journey. So at the bottom of the screen, you can see the progression framework that has been introduced in Redgate last year. But basically describe for each role what is the expectation of the company, what skill you should demonstrate and use on a daily basis. So I definitely invite you to have a look at the progression framework. I try to map the progression framework to my professional journey that started in 2010. So I started coding when I was 8, but I mostly wrote code for me till 2010, and I joined as a graduate engineer in 2010. And then suddenly started to realize that the code I was writing was looked by other people. So other people had to understand the code. So that for me was the first biggest lesson I had to learn. I spent about 1 year in a company called Autonomy that was later been acquired by HP. I've been about 1 year in that company, and then I changed to Citrix as a software engineer. I've been there for about 3 years and developed my skills as an engineer, working on different products, and later on in 2014, joined Redgate as a mid-level engineer. I wasn't promoted in Citrix, so I decided to change the company, and also because I love Redgate, I wanted to work in a company that was agile and with an amazing culture, and was one of the best decisions I've made professionally. And I've been in Redgate for, as you can see, for more than 7 years now. I started in 2014, and the first couple of years were quite intense, and I developed and learned a lot, and kind of reached the senior level around 2016. This is arguable because Redgate at the time didn't have like specific kind of progression. All engineers were software engineers, and was one of the good things of Redgate, in my opinion, in the sense that I could be myself completely. I didn't think about the title that much. I was expressing myself fully and do the best work possible. So these are kind of my tentative way, the way I see myself, how I progressed in the company. And basically I've been senior engineer for quite some time. And in 2019, the company introduced the lead software engineer role after having introduced the tech lead around I don't remember exactly the date, in between 2016, around 2016, I think. And that was the role that was perfect for me. And I decided I wanted to become a lead engineer in 2019, and managed to get the role this year. I wanted to share this timeline to give you an idea of how long this could take. I'm pretty sure there are a lot smarter engineers that can do this path a lot quicker. But I think it's very important to say that it takes time to develop skills and progress. So you need to be patient. I'm going to share some lessons I've learned along the way and what I was doing wrong. Hopefully I can speed up your journey a little bit today. Let's start by talking about, so I'm focusing mostly on the last part of the journey to become a lead engineer. So I'm focusing more on this role. So the role is about building and maintaining software, but at the same time contributing to product development. It's basically a role for engineers that want to continue coding, but at the same time having a wider impact in the company. So there are three key responsibilities that are leadership in the team, accelerating technical excellence in Redgate by driving cross teams initiatives, and developing engineering skills inside the team. The first question you need to ask yourself is if you want to become a lead software engineer. And that's not an easy question. I've been thinking about that question for quite a lot of time, obviously, mostly because there wasn't a lead software engineer role at the time when the tech lead was introduced. And so you need to decide if you want to remain a senior engineer, become a tech lead, or become a lead engineer. And I've done I had to do a lot of coaching, a lot of chatting with my manager to actually understand. It's not a question that you might be able to answer yourself. Obviously, now we have better equipped because we have the progress framework, a lot more resources, a lot more example of people acting on their roles. So you can talk with your manager and the coaches to understand the role. Talk with other lead software engineers. I personally booked a meeting one-on-one to each lead engineer to understand their roles, ask them questions, try to understand the gaps in my skills and what I could do, what I couldn't do, and so on. So definitely invite you to do all of these things in trying to answer that question. The main point I want to make is it's perfectly fine to aspire to become a senior engineer and stay there. If you want to maximize the amount of code you want to write, that's the position that you should probably stay in. And that was the position I wanted to stay in until the lead software engineer role was introduced. It took me a long time to understand I didn't want to become a tech lead, including trying to apply twice and being rejected twice at the tech lead position. I wasn't ready for it, and it wasn't the role I was looking for. But it might be yours, so you need to ask that question. As soon as you decide, make everyone aware of your decision, obviously starting from your manager, but everyone in the company should know that. I put my status in Slack with aspiring lead software engineer. I wanted everyone to know that was my goal, and I wanted to, in order to get feedback, to get encouragement, feedback, and anything like that. So everyone was aware of my goal, especially my team members, and anyone working with me more closely. And then it's about trying to find the best opportunities for you to maximize your success. For me, one of the decisions I made was to change team and join the ONABs. And I had a long chat at the Expo with Dave, my current manager, about my goal. I was very clear about my goal at the time. I spoke with him. We had a long chat about it, what kind of opportunities were available, and decided to join the team. But for you, it could be anything else. So you need to start to think about what's the best opportunities available for you to prove the role. And the most important thing is be open for a big change. I wasn't open since the beginning of last year, because I'm going to get into that in a moment. The main reason why I wasn't doing the right things was because I was thinking about the lead software engineer as senior engineer plus. I was thinking about, I'm just a more senior engineer, right? So I need to do more. I need to demonstrate that I do a lot more things and so on. This is an email I sent at the beginning of last year to one of the dev lead to try to list everything I've done in a sprint. I started to collect evidence of what I was doing. I was starting to doing so much, and I was a little bit burned out, to be honest, and frustrated because I was doing the wrong thing. I was trying to do more senior stuff and trying to do everything. I was very focused on myself, on trying to do more and get the credits for it, and I was doing wrong. And this email is something I forwarded to my new manager, Dave. And the first conversation I had with Dave was, Andrea, we got to talk. This is exactly what you shouldn't do to become a lead engineer. So we had this conversation. It was eye-opening for me. So the main point is that what got you here won't get you there. So if you are an engineer at any level, getting to senior is hard. It's obvious what you need to do. You need to improve your coding skill, develop other people, and learn more about design and so on, and become better at what you're already doing. When you want to start thinking about the lead engineer role, you need to do a mental shift that I didn't do until the beginning of last year. You need to start thinking about what you need to stop doing, what you need to do differently, what you should start, and more importantly, what you need to focus on. And you need to be honest with yourself that you might not be able to answer these questions yourself. So have a conversation with your manager, with other LSCs, with anyone, to really try to understand what you need to be doing. And this leads to the impact over output principle. I had to stop thinking about doing more and output, doing a lot more tasks and actions, and move towards thinking about the impact of my actions on the company, on the division. I remember talking with Dave a lot about this, with about the blast radius. So when you do something, how much impact it's going to have, how much, how much of Redgate is going to be influenced by the change. And this means having to step down from less promising initiatives. When I started last year, I was doing a lot of other initiatives that were not directly aligned with my goal to become an LSC, and I had to step down. And that was hard to do because I cared about those initiatives. And the other thing is important to be able to say no to new initiative or new things that you might want to do, or other people might want you to do, but they might not be aligned with your goal. And the key things to understand is that the time you spend on a task is different than the impact. And the two books that I suggest, and I love books, so there will be a lot of book references in my talk, is the Effective Engineer book. That book is really great to let you understand what the concept of leverage and how much your engineering action have an impact in the company. So definitely recommend it. And the other one is the One Thing, that help you to think about doing less, but with more quality, to avoid spreading yourself thin and having less impact. And this leads to the second key thing, that is delegation, mastering delegation. If you are doing everything, you definitely can't focus. And one of the key things I had to learn was overcoming the desire to get credits. That was very hard for me. So I'm an engineer. I love solving problems. I love doing things. I love getting, to solve the problem, be a big contributor of the problem, celebrate with me and the team, repeat. It's kind of an addiction. So I was very addicted to that. I had to learn how to disconnect from that, because the goal is to have the impact, not necessarily to do the work. And the other important thing is giving others the opportunity to own and lead and support them along the way. There might be something I enjoy doing, but I already don't like a lot of times, but other people in the team, they haven't. So it's my responsibility to give opportunity to the people in my team to lead these initiatives and support them to do that. I thought I knew about delegation, but I definitely didn't know. And I basically learned about that when my manager gave me the first delegation task. That was in 2 weeks' time, I had to do some like cloud testing for SQL prompt, but I was tasked to do that, to delegate that and do no work. I could only coordinate. I could only report progress. I couldn't do any work. That was one of the most uncomfortable task I've done. And that really let me understand delegation deeply, because I was feeling strange, right? It was, oh no, I'm not doing nothing. So, and some people were even giving me credit for doing the things, but I didn't do the thing, right? So all of these dynamics, it takes time to learn, but definitely is an experience you need to go through. So definitely invite you to master delegation. And there is a delegation workshop that Chris Smith did. I attended last year. It was very good. I didn't read any book on delegation, but I practiced delegation a lot last year, and still learning, of course, but definitely something I recommend you to learn and master more. Then be a force multiplier. So one of the things I recommend is mentor new engineers. Is something I've started last year called Level Up with Mentoring. We have a mentoring channel. It's basically level up other engineers, so that are maybe less experienced than you, and you can help them grow. Means learning and sharing what you learned as widely as you can, and also means you can be mentored as well. So if you remember the timeline I've shared, along the timeline, I always had a mentor. When I started, I had a mentor outside Redgate. There was weekly. I was having weekly session with him to learn about coding. At the beginning of my career, I had some mentors like help me to navigate the world of work. When I become a senior engineer, I've been mentored by Jeff to understand leadership a little bit more and trying to answer the question: do I want to be a lead engineer, a tech lead or not at the time? And now I've been mentored by a lead software engineer. I've been mentored by a lead engineer for the majority of last year. In addition to that, I also mentor 2 engineers, and I'm currently mentoring 1 as well. So mentoring, sharing what you're learning is critical. I also did mentoring mentors. So because I created this Level Up mentoring, and you can check the talk I've done last year at Level Up about mentoring, I tried to teach how to mentor so that I could even do a force multiplier, basically. But the key point is basically helping others grow means also you can input into their personal development plans. You can attend the session with them and help them define how they can progress. So I definitely strongly encourage you to have a chat with your line manager about mentoring. I'm not owning Level Up anymore. The tech lead are not responsible for mentoring, so talk with your tech lead if this is an opportunity you want to get into. Then I think lead engineers are responsible for fostering an intent-based leadership in the team. I'm not going to get into the details of intent-based leadership, but there are 2 amazing books that you need to read: Turn the Ship Around and Leadership is Language. And there is a talk that Dave did last year at Level Up that talk about intent-based leadership. That, in a nutshell, is about empowering everyone in the team to lead, because the leader is not a title, but everyone can be a leader. So it's your role as a lead engineer to foster this culture in your team, support and encourage leadership at all levels, and help other people lead initiatives and support them. The other very useful thing I recommend is to learn about management. I was lucky enough to have been a manager in Redgate for 1 year. In 2016, I think I was a manager of 2 test engineers in addition to being a senior engineer, and that really helped me to practice more management skills and attend management training. But this training is available to everyone, so I definitely invite you to attend it. Situational leadership, coaching, giving feedback, the 5 dysfunction. All of this training is amazing for you to understand more about how to work with people, about emotional intelligence, and strongly encourage to anyone to attend. And obviously listening and communication skills is something that you should always continue to practice and develop. And managing an intern is also quite an experience. I've managed 2 interns in my career at Redgate, one when I joined Redgate and one in the middle. And it's a perfect opportunity for practicing line management skills without becoming a line management. Even if you don't want to become a line manager, those skills are extremely valuable. Definitely encourage you to attend those trainings. Then I believe developing a business mindset is something that is quite important, and certainly helped me a lot last year. Basically, try to get a little bit out of the engineering bubble where usually engineers live, and I used to live for a long time, and try to explore the fields of sales, marketing, design, management, read books about those topics, attend a conference that is completely out of your comfort zone, just to see how the other roles think about the business, how you can better work with the other functions. That's the biggest value, because you're gonna work with all these roles during your career, and the more you understand the business, and the more you can align your task and your goals with the business, the more impact you can have. And the other important things is getting more confident talking with customers. Customers are the business, right? Without customers, we don't have a business. So talking with customers, learning from them is critical. It's a critical skill you need to develop as well. And then act like a lead engineer. As I said, if there is a culture of intent-based leadership in the team, there is nothing stopping you to step up, introduce new things, new way of doing things, or leading new initiatives. Do you see an amazing tool that could be useful for your team? Just propose the tool and try to use it. Or there's a new process that you think you can improve, just propose and start experiments. I found that the word experiment is very useful because it's less of a commitment. Okay, I've seen these amazing things. Let's give it a go for 2 weeks. Lead that and see how how it goes, and you might actually improve the team and the company along the way. Then there are plenty of opportunities for leadership in the community of practice that we have around Redgate. Definitely something you can think doing. And then deputizing for the lead software engineer role or the tech lead. During my career, I deputized for tech leads a few times. And last year, I was lucky enough that the lead engineer went on sabbatical for 2 months. And I was able to step in and act as a de facto lead engineer in the team for 2 months. That gave me a very good experience and taste of the role. I was able to influence the engineering policies and other cross-team initiatives, and it was fantastic for me to understand the role and learn more about the lead software engineer role. And then in general, supporting your tech lead, volunteer for tasks that are beyond engineering that can support your team. Nothing stopping you to do that. So you are usually the main blocker for this. Okay, now switching gear a little bit, I want to talk about the interview process and my tips for the interview process of a lead software engineer. The key thing is be concise and focus on the bigger picture of how your actions, how your what you've done contributed to Redgate. On the left-hand side, you can see the first email I sent in 2019 when the role was published. 19 bullet points, why I think I was a good fit, and 6 bullet points why I wanted to, I would like to be a lead engineer. So, and if you read there, you can see that I was a bit self-centered. I was like more still thinking on of a lead engineer as a senior engineer doing more. I wasn't very focused on the company, on the bigger picture. So I wasn't selected for doing the actual interview. So on the right-hand side is the email I sent this year. 3 bullet points per question, very concise, focus on what the few things that you did that you believe actually moved the needle for getting the role. And the other important things, I asked for feedback. I asked my manager and a few other people to review my application. What do you think about that? And improve before submitting. Why? In 2019, I just wrote those bullet lists, send, and hopefully I will be fine. So that's one of the big advice, big tip, because if you can get to the stage of doing the interview, you have more chance to show your skills. The second thing is learn more about system design and architecture. The interview as a lead engineer is mostly about designing a system from scratch and do a presentation on it. So I invite you to read books like The Building Microservices that I found very useful to understand how to decouple systems that is a bit technical and agnostic. So very good to understand the concepts. Building Evolutionary Architectures is a nice book to understand the trade-off between building enough architecture and changing the architecture over time rather than trying to design everything up front. And the third thing I recommend is the Systems Expert course on large-scale distributed system. I found that very useful to understand the various concepts of load balancing, caching, and all the kind of trade-offs you need to think about. And also there are like example of questions, system design questions, like how to design Netflix, how to design Slack, and some example of how you would answer those questions. So I found that course very, very useful. Then aligning with the divisional and company strategy, something I strongly recommend. Familiarize with the divisional and the company objectives and key results. When you talk during the interview, and if any decision you make on your system align that with the company goals, think about that. Think about the core technical strategy that we have, that in our cases at the moment is the platform initiative. I read the entire documentation of the platform before my interview. By the way, great, they did a great job on that. So it was very useful for me to understand the context of the company and have that very clear and center during the interview. So definitely recommend that you to do that. And then there is a book called the Staff Engineer Book that is a book basically covering what lead software engineers do. There's interviews of a lot of people at this level and a lot of advices and resources that you can read. And there is a book club that started recently. So you can join the book club Staff Eng on Slack if you want to take part of it. So the title is called Staff Engineer, but it's effectively equivalent to the lead software engineer in Redgate. But that's more the term used in a lot of other companies for the lead engineer role. So definitely invite you to read the books. I was lucky enough that the book was released just a few weeks before my interview, and it was a very good read to learn about the role. Okay, so what are you going to do next? This is the question you should ask yourself. You need to make the decision of what you want to do. Obviously, if you are at the beginning of your journey as an engineer, keep doing what you're doing to become a senior engineer, improve your design skills, your development skills, and so on. If you are a senior engineer and you love coding, you don't want to progress, that's fine. Stay a senior engineer, and then you can decide if you want to become a lead or a tech lead or a lead engineer. If you want, regardless of that, talk with your manager, start a personal development plan that is specifically focused for you to get promoted to this new role. And if you want to become a lead engineer, ask for being added to the lead software engineers track. It's basically a list of people that the company is aware they want to basically progress and become lead engineers. And also you can speak to our head of engineering, Jeff, if you have any questions, any concern, any input you need in order to understand what you can do, what impact you can make in order to become a lead engineer. Jeff put together a page on the info site, Become an LSE, that I invite you to look at. Contains a list of resources or potential initiatives you can start, and I expect that page to evolve over time with the things you can do to progress in the role. Having said that, I wish you all the best in your career. And if you have any questions, happy to answer.
Andrea, thank you. That was an absolutely fantastic talk, and I really appreciate, and I think everybody probably appreciates here, the honesty and the openness that you've shared with people. I think that was absolutely fantastic, because that is what's helpful to people. You've shown your vulnerabilities, and I think that, honestly, I was absolutely enthralled. I was like, this is really interesting. And I can tell you, as somebody who's progressed in a career, you know, in and outside of Redgate, that advice is absolutely all round. Like, anybody sitting in this talk can take something away from that. And I thank you so much for that. That was a fantastic insight. We do have a question. So we have a question from Tom Wool. She said, do you think all of your advice is applicable for people from other disciplines looking to move into a more senior role, either in the same discipline or an adjacent one?
I can definitely see there is a lot of stuff that is not specific to like engineering, like all the management training, all of the like delegation, all of that skills are critical if you want to, get into a leadership position. So definitely there is a lot of, things that are not specifically related to that. So yeah, I think it's most of the advice is generic for other lead engineer roles, leader roles. I'm not sure exactly.
And Carly's just mentioned that it resonates with her, and it definitely resonates with me too in marketing. So yeah, I think I've definitely got a long list here. Yeah, lots of feedback, great feedback. Great job, Andrea. Customers of the business love it. Lots of sort of great feedback coming through here. So we've got probably 30 seconds before Sybil starts at the next talk now. But can everybody join me in thanking Andrea? That was absolutely, like, what a fantastically honest talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Even my cat's come in to applaud you, Andrea. See you all in the next talk. Thank you very much, Andrea, and thank you everybody for joining us. Bye.
Bye-bye.